Hey there, I hope you all are doing great. Now, in this playlist, in this session, or I should say, the lecture of forensic toxicology, we will learn about the cardiac poison. Aconite is one of the most common cardiac plant poison known so far. It is an ideal homicidal poison as well. Now, what is an ideal homicidal poison? Why aconite is uh, known to be an ideal cardiac or homicidal poison? We will learn each of these details in further upcoming lectures. Fine, we will cover about the active principles, the properties, symptoms, and the fatal dose and period, both treatment along with the medical legal aspects of the aconite poison. To begin with, let us have a look at the introduction of what actually aconite as a poison is. Before we proceed with the lecture, let us know about the cardiac poison. What are the cardiac poisons? Cardiac, related to heart. So all the substances which are poisonous to our heart, which cause a bad impact on the condition of our heart, which can be fatal as well, are all the cardiac poisons. For an example, aconite, also known as Aconitum napellus or Aconitum ferox. Now nicotine, the Nicotiana tabacum, or digitally purpurea. They are all the common cardiac poison, and we will read about each one of them in further upcoming slides. First of all, our main focus would be on aconite because it is an extremely important kind of poison. Aconite is also known as monk's hood, meetha zehar, that is sweet poison, okay, or bish. Bish is like a wish, means zehar or poison, so that is bish. All the plants of this all the part of this plant are poisonous, to be very particular, but the root is most poisonous portion of the aconite plant. Okay, so in case you will be asked the question that which part of the aconite plant is more poisonous and fatal, so it is just the root, but entire plant is poisonous as well. You must keep this in mind. Dry root is there. Now this is the anatomy of root. Root is particularly conical, and it also has this tapering. And what is tapering? Something like this, which has a narrow ending, the tapering ends, something like this, which has a narrow ending, broader from above and narrow from the top. This is what we call tapering. Its base contain the rootlets. Now when we talk about the entire root, so it is 5 to 10 centimeter long particularly, and 1.5 to 2 centimeter thick. Fine, and it is brownish in color. Now let us have a look at the active principles of aconite. Aconitine, pseudoaconitine, picaconitine, and aconine. These four most important active principles are very important from the examination point of view, so you must mug up and keep this in your mind. It is somewhat correlated to the name aconite itself, so it is quite easy for you to remember this. Okay, now what are the properties? First of all, it is colorless. You might not get the variations in the colors of the aconite poison. And then it is transparent, somewhat rhombic crystal in shape. How does a rhombus look? Something like this, somewhat like this. So it is rhombic in shape. Now not so soluble in water, and it is easily soluble in benzene and chloroform, means aconite is soluble in organic solvents, but it is not so soluble in inorganic solvents. Fine enough. Now the sign and symptoms, I have taken this screenshot from Gautam Biswas sir's book. You must have checked it out, you must have read it out, and in case you didn't, so I would recommend you, because from my perspective it is the best book that I know so far for toxicology and medicine. So you must check it out once, in case you get its PDF available somewhere, or you may purchase it from Amazon or anything like that. Now for gastrointestinal tract, it causes nausea, and vomiting, salivation, pain in abdomen. And when we talk about the condition of tongue, so it causes bittersweet taste, burning, and some tingling sensation in your tongue. Okay, now mouth, throat will be more prone to numbness. Now CVS, cardiovascular system. As I've already told you in the beginning of the lecture that aconite is a cardiac poison, so for sure it will affect your cardiovascular system. Blood pressure falls rapidly and pulse will slow down. Okay, there will be any irregularity that would be observed. Death that mostly occurs is due to the respiratory failure or ventricular fibrillation. We're fine. This is the root of the aconite, that is the most poisonous portion of the entire aconite plant. Now fatal dose is 1 to 2 gram and aconitine for that it is 2 to 5 gram. As I have already told you, root is most poisonous portion, so even in a small quantity like in 1 to 2 gram it can cause death of the person. Fatality is extremely high and mostly fatal period lasts from 2 to 6. Fine. Then treatment, when we talk about the treatment, so gastric lavage with tannic acid or activated charcoal is enough. Is something like stomach wash. Then cardiac monitoring, the monitoring of the heartbeat, whether it is getting decreased or increased or whatsoever, the entire cardiac rhythm is important in case the person is diagnosed with the aconite poisoning. Now, what are the common post-mortem findings? If you get some dead body and there are probabilities that deaths must have caused due to aconite poisoning, now what are the possible probabilities? What are the common findings that could be obtained from the dead body? These findings are termed as post-mortem finding. After the death of the person, what are the findings? What are the clues that you get from the body that point towards the death of the person due to aconite poison? So it is not very specific, but mostly asphyxia is cause of the aconite death due to aconite poisoning. Organs are congested and some fragment of roots can be found in the stomach of the deceased. Okay, now medical legal aspect, I have told you in the very beginning of the lecture that it is an ideal suicidal poison. Why? A poison can be termed as an ideal homicidal or ideal suicidal poison in case it is hard to detect. So aconite is extremely hard to detect, which is why it is termed as an ideal homicidal poison. Fine. Sometimes it happens that there are numerous poison, aconite as well, which mimic the symptoms of other disease, so it is quite hard for doctors to detect what actually is the cause of death. Okay, now some advantages: it is cheap and it is easily available, so it can be easily used for purpose of causing homicide. Lethal dose is small, so even small quantity is enough to cause death of the person. Fine. Then color, I have already told you it is colorless, so you can easily mix it with anything, maybe with any liquid or drinks in order to cause death. Fine. And taste can be easily masked mixing it with sweet. Why? Because it is sweet in taste. It is known as sweet poison. Meetha zahar that we have already learned in beginning, which I have already seen in beginning, and it can be mixed with betel leaves. Now in the North India mostly people eat this pan, which is quite sweet in taste, bitter sweet in taste, so it somewhat resembles its taste, so it can be easily given to the person in that form as well. So I hope this lecture is quite clear to you and you have understood all the point. Reference is taken from Gautam Biswas, so you can prefer it in case you want to see the lecture again. You can check out the entire playlist that I have made for the forensic toxicology. Just show some love and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.